This news program is proudly brought to you by
Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits
and Now Biscuits.
Telecom Limited signs a memorandum of agreement with Aboya Investment. Peter Conference and Expo concludes day 3. And Central Provincial Government ready to support families affected by floods. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. Telecom PNG has signed a memorandum of agreement this afternoon with Aboya Investment to use the cloud solution PMX system. This is an exclusive deal that Telecom Limited is the first company in PNG and the Pacific to have this system, and the MOA signing will now allow them to implement the system.
Today was a milestone achievement for Telecom Limited, as it has been working with Aboya Investments for the last 2 to 3 years to set up the system, and now Telecom Limited will finally implement this new system. During the signing ceremony of the MOA today, Telecom Limited CEO Amos Tepi said new technology has challenged them with their way of doing business. However, this signing is a way forward for them.
But this one is a special one which going to manage the new technology age, and that's to do with the digital side of things as well. So when you use the PABX this system, it's basically you will take the office around with you. You can't position or permanently stay in one area where you will operate a switch. You can have a phone line, everything there, but this time you can call and you can still answer calls in, if you call in your office in Argen. Obviously when you're in Port Moresby, you can still answer calls here. The other one is not only that, but if you go outside of Papua New Guinea and somebody call Argen, and this person is in Australia, they can still answer a call in Australia.
Mr. Tepi added that this system will enable them to tackle some of the challenges they are facing and will ensure that the company having to use this system will be the solution to these challenges.
We're looking forward to give this to our existing customers that we used to have a problem with fixed line on the normal traditional way of call, but now this one will really address some of the challenges that we face with going there with technical team fixing the lines. Sometimes they wait for too long, but this will address some of those.
The managing director of Aboya Investments, Amos Goldman, explained how this system will address the challenges that telecommunication companies face and the positive impacts of this new system.
Once we are using a solution that is pure software, we cut all the expenses that related to the hardware, to the shipment, to inventory. For 40 unit, we're saving all this because we are using only software. The software sitting somewhere in the cloud of telecom, and from one site can manage many offices all around the country. It doesn't matter where. Even you can manage a solution from here to Solomon Island, because it's in the speed light you have the service in other country.
This system can be installed on your desktop or your mobile phone, which means that you can carry your office with you wherever you go. This was further explained by the Telecom Limited head of ICT, Navinder Singh.
Everything's based on the cloud, and you don't even have to worry about security. It's all handled by the cloud. So that takes that responsibility away from customers. Those are the major benefits of the system. It's cloud-based. That's why the reason the world is moving towards cloud. You don't have to worry about security, cyber security, and you don't have to worry about hardware maintenance, and you do not have to worry about power. So those are the major benefits of this cloud-based solution.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Pacific Islands Telecommunications Association provides a platform for telecommunications service providers to identify and share challenges faced, discuss solutions, and form partnerships that will help curb telecommunication difficulties.
Day 2 of the PITA Forum yesterday witnessed more insightful discussions. Despite being a large or small country, we have all experienced or are experiencing how technology is rapidly changing lives, if not flattening the old world. This was emphasized by Kumul Consolidated Holdings Managing Director, Professor David Kavanamur.
It is important that we embrace this change if we are to contribute and continue to improve the quality of life of our people in terms of the Human Development Index. Our telecommunications companies must lead the way in adapting to a range of developments.
For example, 5G connectivity and technology and what is known as the metaverse. This is a virtual reality space in which users can interact with a computer-generated environment and other users.
The question is how we can take advantage of it to improve our citizens' quality of life and speed up national development, or in development terms, leapfrog development challenges, and close that gap between the developed and developing countries. Blockchain technology, another innovation which supports decentralized finance and banking and other forms of businesses. PNG is examining ways to exploit it, especially in international trade and commerce. Machine learning and artificial intelligence, this transformative data technology has widespread applicability and enormous potential for personal and national development.
Globally, 5G satellite access is becoming increasingly accessible. However, for PNG and other developing countries, internet access is expensive compared to developed nations, and reliability is a challenge.
In PNG, satellite links today play only a secondary role as backup for submarine or terrestrial cables. In future, satellite connectivity could become far more benefit to all Pacific nations. Telecommunications and national development. Telecommunications, especially mobile telecommunications, is being taken up at an increasing rate here and elsewhere in the Pacific.
Professor Kavanamur stated that in PNG, telecommunication relies on towers to enable mobile and internet connection. He added that we have a long road ahead, but this meet fosters partnerships and collective effort to address the known challenges. Amanda Ilaitia, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, Professor David Kavanamur, the Managing Director for Kumul Consolidated Holdings, while addressing delegates during the second day of PITA 27 AGM Business Forum and Expo, highlighted the risks of telecommunications through the Pacific region. The event, which started on Monday, will end tomorrow.
There are still many parts of PNG to reach. Like many Pacific countries, we have small populations which are sparsely spread throughout the country over large land and sea areas and with low population densities. So there is still plenty of space for competition, but we just have to overcome the CSO responsibilities. There are still many parts, so telecommunications risks. In PNG and other Pacific countries, there are two major risks: natural disasters, cybersecurity.
In other news, the central provincial government stands ready and will be assisting families affected by the recent floods. Provincial officers have gone out to assess the situation, and a proper assessment report will be given to the provincial administrator and respective members in the central province soon.
These are pictures of some of the villages in the central province badly affected by the recent floods. In a media conference this morning, member for Abau Sepuka Temu, member for Hiri Koyari Kit Iduhu, member for Rigo Se Anopala, and the provincial administrator assured the people of Central Province that assistance will soon reach them. Mr. Kawaba, the administrator, said a final assessment report is due to reach his office by the end of this week. He elaborated further on what his office intends to do next.
We can compile a whole holistic report that covers the entire province. So hopefully by Friday we should have a draft in place, and then I will give that to our honorable members, including the governor, for the perusal before we consolidate it and then put it up to the national disaster for eventual submission to NEC for assistance.
In sharing the same sentiments, Sepuka Temu said the respective members, together with Governor Rufina Peter, cannot do it alone. Hence, they need the help of the national government. He explained further.
I will appeal to the national government, Prime Minister, the Minister for Defense, who is the minister responsible, to respond to the emergency situation. Whatever amount emergency requires, we will need to respond.
The recent heavy rains have caused flash flooding throughout the Central Province, causing families to be without food and shelter at this time. The provincial government, under the leadership of Governor Rufina Peter, is aware of the situation and will be submitting a final assessment report to the National Disaster Office for coordination and further assistance soon. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. We continue with more national news. The 7 gold sponsors of PITA 27th AGM and Business Forum and Expo 2023 have discussed the event theme and industry key enabling initiatives today during the third day of the forum. The Director of Asia Pacific Sales, Robert Shuba, pointed out that one major problem faced in the Pacific is that not everyone is connected.
The 7 gold sponsors who discussed the event theme, reimagining service excellence, ubiquity and resilience in a post-COVID Pacifica, and the key enabling initiatives were the Parcus Group, Pacific, Panamexil, Daytech PNG, SES, Intelsat, and SkyTel. The Director of Asia Pacific Sales emphasized that there is a need for collaborative effort from everyone in the telecommunications industry to ensure every person is connected regardless of their location, either it to be in towns and cities or in the remote areas. He stressed that the reality in PNG is that many people of this country are not connected.
And exposure matrix that we have for Asia and the Pacific region. You will note that most of the countries in the Pacific islands, these are on the right top chart, which means they are both vulnerable and have high exposure to the disasters. So the relevance of emergency telecom is high in all the countries that are specifically in the Pacific region.
The Chief Executive Officer of Daytech, Gokul Naidu, says Daytech has partnered with 6 vendors to operate in PNG. He says these vendors are key strengths for Daytech, in which Daytech has got the skill, resource and training from to find solutions in the telecommunications space.
It has got skill resources with all these vendors, trained by these vendors, and their on-ground support is the key strength for Daytech. And most of our corporate customers, our government customers, rely on Daytech to provide these end-to-end ICT solutions to their premises. And currently, Daytech focuses on both on-prem and as well as cloud infrastructure. So we have built a solution architecture where we provide end-to-end from consulting to delivery and support of this solution.
Mr. Naidu added that in telecommunication, they have to think beyond, and so they need to bring in international expertise.
We have done a few projects with NICTA to get schools connected, and we did a Ballop school, Ballop College internet connectivity through UAS Levy project. It was very successful, and similarly we are working with various stakeholders in terms of digital transformation.
Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea is home to 100 tribes and clans with thousands of cultural practices. PNG prides itself at a diverse culture and traditions that can be found in all provinces. Hence, there are quite a number of cultural festivals, one of which is the Tawari Mask Festival in the Gulf Province.
The Tawari Mask Festival was established in 2005 and since has been an annual event aimed at showcasing the unique Tawari masks. Today, in a small but significant event held at the National Museum and Art Gallery in Port Moresby, Total Energy signed on as a gold sponsor for the festival. Total Energy's Managing Director Jean-Marc Noire said they are happy to come on board to support the festival.
Among our values and what we want to support in the country, cultural heritage is an important element. Yes. Because, as you said, Director, it really helps to bring together the community and the communities in such a culturally rich country as Papua New Guinea.
Yes.
So we'll contribute, and we are glad to be among your first sponsor. We hope many more will come.
The National Cultural Commission Executive Director Stephen Kilanda expressed gratitude for the support.
I think from the past experiences we have seen that our exploration companies, our minings have not come on board to support such events. If we invest in culture, the 8 million plus people are connected. So you will be remembered for a long, long time for investing in culture industry. So culture is our identity, and culture is the source of our life, and it's our pride for this country.
The National Cultural Commission also made a check presentation of 5,000 kina to the chairman of the Tawari Mask Festival to support the staging of the festival. Chairman of the Tawari Mask Festival, Ben Micah, said preparations are going well on ground and the people are excited to be staging the festival again after being put on hold due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Preparations for this year's Mask Festival, down to the groundworks, we are doing fine, and it's working on preparing for villages and the districts to come. So there will be districts from Kerama, Kantiba, Koditanga. They will be also coming. So far this year we bring the dancing group without mask. They will be performing too. They will be coming from the districts that I have said. In my area from Kaipi and Larpi, there will be 15 groups coming for there are no other things down in that festival, only the mass preparation.
The festival will be held on the 9th to the 10th of June at the Tawari village in Gulf Province. Florence John Duo, National EMTV News.
People of Woitape in Golala district of Central Province have finally made peace with each other's and with their local member, Casimiro Aya. This follows recent fighting resulting in the death of a man in Woitape.
EMTV News caught up with the local member, Casimiro Aya, and Governor Rufina Pita upon their return from Woitape Station this afternoon. Governor Pita explained that the reconciliation was quite emotional. She spoke of what transpired at Woitape when they arrived this morning to facilitate the peace reconciliation ceremony there.
We have a peace and reconciliation process that we need to undertake this year for the 3 LLGs. That will then pave way for development work to happen. And so that's what we were out at Connie doing today. The significant message is we've planted the palm, the tanget. Remember myself and the brother of the deceased, who was the gang leader. So we planted that tanget together, and that's a sign of a new beginning.
More so, local member Kashmiro Aya explained that police presence is little to none in his electorate, and he is willing to work closely with the Royal PNG Constabulary for frequent police presence in Woitape and the 3 other LLGs in Goilala. He elaborates further.
Where there is an incident of such nature, we, either governor or myself, send police officers up. They do 1 day or 2 days or even few days tour of the district, and then they pull out. The problem is not addressed as far as the root cause. So we take this opportunity to also appeal to responsible government agencies that.
Given the remoteness of the district, the people of Goilala have been secluded from basic government services for a long time. Now, the current member, Kashmiro Aya, in partnership with Central Governor Rufina Peter, change is imminent. However, support from relevant government authorities must be rendered so the people of Goilala are also given much-needed basic government services. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
Police in Mount Hagen City have removed a makeshift shelter at Gomis rugby field. The people of Kandep Enga have been living in tents after a fight in November last year that displaced them from their settlement at Kagamuga Airport.
On Saturday, police went to Gomis rugby field and ordered the Kandep people settling there to live by burning down their makeshift shelters. This action came after a 21 days notice to move out was not adhered to. The displaced people are calling on their political leaders for help. It is understood that this group of people had settled at Kagamuga with the locals, but an incident happened in which the situation went out of hand, leaving more than 3 people killed, while the number of people who drowned at Wagi River is still unknown. Amanda Ilaitia, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the Nest Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at $0.2830 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.2745 US, $0.4180 Australian dollars, $0.2486 euro, 38.24 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, copra closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed higher. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Moving to overseas news now. And in South Australia, the government has passed penalties to people who engage in protests that are deemed disruptive.
MPs spent all night debating the laws, which will mean that anyone charged with obstructing a public place may be slapped with a fine of up to $50,000 or face up to 3 months in jail.
The country of South Korea has one of the lowest birth rates in the world, as the women there urge the government to implement policies that are family-friendly.
You wouldn't spot it walking along Seoul's busy shopping streets, but South Korea has a population problem. Many women here simply don't want to have kids. The country's birth rate is just 0.78. Australia's is more than double that, at 1.70. Mother of one, Kim Se-hee, has to rush home from work to get her 5-year-old daughter from daycare. as her husband is stuck at the office working long hours. She fears she'll eventually have to give up her job to manage the demands at home.
I have to work, do the housework, I have to not just take care of my daughter, I also have to play with her. It's hard because I, as a mother, have to take on more of these things.
It's a cautionary tale to other young women that having a career and children is incompatible.
If I had children, I would have to take a break from work. I'm worried about having that career break.
The government has come up with a lot of ideas to try and address the problem. One of the most controversial is the creation of a 69-hour work week. The idea is you can bank the extra overtime to spend with family later. But the backlash from Gen Z and millennials was so severe, it's now looking at a new strategy. Experts say job security for working mums is desperately needed.
Women no longer agree with the distinction between men at work and women at home, and women think that they should participate in society and work, so they choose to work rather than having children.
South Korea's population is now officially in decline, putting pressure on politicians to address the problem.
Tech experts from around the world are calling on people to mitigate the world from global extinction through AI.
Extinction from artificial intelligence should be a global priority. Dozens, including Geoffrey Hinton, a so-called godfather of AI, have supported the statement published on the webpage of the San Francisco-based non-profit Centre for AI Safety. It says mitigating possible risks from AI needs to be given the same priority as other risks, such as pandemics and nuclear war.
The Voice to Parliament Treaty in Australia is now being backed by more than 120 multicultural groups.
More than 120 multicultural community groups are showing their support for a yes vote on an Indigenous voice to Parliament. The cultural community organisations have signed a joint resolution backing the voice, but are also advocating for more information to be translated in their own languages. Many people from these communities say they don't know enough about both sides of the debate and need the information to be accessible.
Still in Australia, due to bushfires and fuel burns, the air quality in the state dropped alarmingly, triggering people with asthma.
The Asthma Foundation of the Northern Territory is urging people to monitor asthma symptoms after bushfires and fuel burns across the top end, which have caused the air quality to deteriorate to unhealthy levels. Data from the Northern Territory Environment Protection Authority revealed that yesterday Darwin and Palmerston were among Australia's top 10 most polluted cities. Experts say smoke pollution can affect even people with mild asthma.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Last night, the PNG Football Association hosted its gala dinner ahead of its inaugural Women's OFC Championships in Port Moresby. Present at the event were PNG FA staff, players from participating countries, and City Governor Powes Pakop and other special guests. Present during the gala dinner hosted by PNG FA was President John Capinato, invited guest and City Governor Powes Pakop, and the teams from the 5 participating countries. President John Capinato, upon thanking the players, was pleased to announce that PNG will host for the first time the Women's OFC event in Port Moresby, PNG.
2 things that in my term that I see that is happening. Sitting in the OFC Executive Committee and also the Vice President, one of the things we wanted to do was to push women's football. For the last 18 to 20 years, me and my good wife, I think she's not here somewhere, we've been promoting men for the last 18 to 20 years in the Champions League. chasing all the glories with the Hikari Club. And I told the OFC and told President and Chris here that one day we must see women participate in this level of competition.
He thanked the 5 countries, including PNG, who are in Port Moresby to participate in the inaugural tournament. He said while much of the attention have been focused on the Men's Champion League, it is about time the women's too are given the same attention as their male counterparts.
The man has been traveling for the last 18 years all across the regions playing in the Champion League. But today is a very important thing that OFC has decided that women must also travel and be part of this Champion League. So today, you 5 countries, 5 clubs of the countries that are here today, this is an inaugural championship. Some of you may not come back next year. Some of you will not play again because aging is taking over. But remember that this 10 days or 9 days is an historical event, that it will write down in your chapter that I was one of these girls that played in this pitch here in the first inaugural Women's Champion League.
He said the week-long tournament will witness PNG take on 4 other countries in the Pacific: Solomon Islands, Samoa, New Caledonia and Fiji, where New Zealand will not participate. President John Capinato says moving forward, more attention will be given to developing and hosting tournaments for the women and getting the women involved in other big tournaments. President for PNG FA John Capinato has encouraged the 5 participating teams to embrace the game as PNG plays host for the event. He encouraged the players to participate and make the most of it, as many may not participate in this tournament next year moving forward. President for PNG Football Association John Capinato has encouraged the players from participating countries taking part in the inaugural OFC event in Port Moresby, PNG, to embrace the game and, most importantly, have fun and get to make good friends through sports.
But it is something that you will carry back. You 5 clubs that have come. Maybe next year there will be different clubs. But this is a very important milestone of the club of the 5 nations that come.
He said everyone that participate in the tournament should take something away with them to remember this inaugural event held in Port Moresby.
But you 5 clubs from Solomon Islands, from Fiji to Samoa, New Caledonia and PNG, this is an inaugural, a chapter, a legacy that will always stay with you. That's one of the things I see that is happening today in my term as the president and also the vice president of OFC.
He said moving forward, more attention will be given to the women's event.
The second thing that is coming is the men's professional league that is coming in 2025. We will launch that in 2024 in December. Hopefully, Chris, everything works out. So a lot of good things that are happening in our region. For you women, once again, you're a pioneer. You can take the memories away. It will go back to your own country and you said you'll put up a frame in your office or in your clubhouse or wherever and say, I was in the team that came to Port Moresby, Papua New Guinea.
The Women's OFC inaugural tournament will be hosted in Port Moresby and will run for more than a week. Countries participating are host nation PNG, Fiji, Solomon Island, Samoa and New Caledonia. The Desert Storm Kickboxing Club is looking forward to hosting its first tournament of the year this coming weekend. President Nelson Samson says despite the struggle of having to find sponsors, the tournament will still go ahead. The Desert Storm Kickboxing Club will host their first tournament of the year this coming weekend in Port Moresby, where more than 40 fighters will compete for the top sport. President Nelson Samson says despite the struggle of having to find sponsors, the tournament will still go ahead. The fighters who started their training earlier this year are hoping to give their best fight after months of training and preparations. The event will be the club's fourth event since 2019 when the country was hit hard by COVID-19. The tournament is supported by President for PNG Kickboxing Stanley Nandex. Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. To overseas sports now, the State of Origin opener is just hours away from kickoff with the New South Wales Blues confident they can get the job done tonight.
Tonight, the Blues are confident they can get the job done and will be able to cover the loss of star Latrell Mitchell, while Maroons coach Billy Slater says he has no doubt that fullback Reece Walsh will handle the pressure on the big stage. Here's what the coaches have had to say in the lead-up to the game.
At the end of the day, it's an 80-minute game of footy and that's what matters most. And both teams have got to this point. Both have probably prepared really well, but it just comes down to that 80-minute performance.
Been really happy with the preparation. They've come together well. We don't dwell on what's happened in the past, but whatever happens on the field, we need to be in control and hopefully handle the situation.
There have been emotional scenes at the French Open after local star Gaël Monfils triumphed over his opponent.
Men's second seed Daniil Medvedev was knocked out of the tournament to a qualifier. He lost a 5-set match to Brazilian Thiago Seibuch, who's ranked 172nd in the world. He put in a sensational performance, taking out the 5th set 6-4. The 23-year-old had never previously won a Grand Slam match.
I mean, I've watched Daniil play for my entire junior career until today, and I've always dreamed about playing on this court, playing these kind of players. I mean, in my best dreams, I've had of beating them, so it's a dream come true.
4 Australian men are into the second round at Roland Garros for the first time since the year 2000. In the Battle of the Aussies, Max Purcell defeated Jordan Thompson. In other results, 4th seed and last year's finalist Casper Ruud had all the answers, easing past his qualifier opponent. In the women's draw, world number 1 Iga Swiatek breezed into the second round. Last year's runner-up, 6th seed American Coco Gauff came from a set down to win, while 4th seed Jelena Rybakina also moved through.
Sydney Swans defender will sit out the rest of the AFL season as he deals with concussion symptoms.
He's been sidelined since round 4, so that's almost 8 weeks ago, and it's now been moved onto the club's inactive list, which opens up a spot for Sydney on the mid-season draft, which is happening tonight. The 27-year-old has a history of head knocks and has missed 3 seasons because of complications. The Swans say McCartan's main focus is returning to full health. The AFL Tribunal overturned a couple of one-match bans last night and will sit again tonight. Crow Rory Laird is free to play this weekend after he successfully argued his case against a charge of rough conduct for this tackle on Lions star Lachie Neale. Carlton's Adam Chera was also charged with rough conduct after bringing down Swan Tom Hickey, with the tribunal finding it wasn't a dangerous tackle, so he's free to play too. Sydney's Luke Parker wasn't so lucky, failing to have his one-match ban overturned for a dangerous tackle. There'll be 2 more cases tonight. Brisbane's Dane Zorko will challenge his one-match ban for making contact to the eye region of Crows forward Luke Pedlar, and Fremantle's Jago O'Meara is fighting a rough conduct charge.
In boxing, Team Zoo's Kemp insists he'll be fit for the first defence of his interim boxing world title.
He's had to have surgery after suffering an arm laceration when he was bitten by a dog. It's not exactly the ideal preparation for his next bout, but his management is confident he'll be ready. The 28-year-old is set to take on Mexican Carlos Ocampo on the Gold Coast on June the 18th.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The Money Plus weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by Money Plus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby mostly fine. Daru partly cloudy. Kerema cloudy periods. Alatau cloudy with rain showers at times. And Popondetta cloudy periods with few showers. In the Momase region, Ley and Madang cloudy periods with few showers. Wewak and Vanimo partly cloudy with brief showers. In the New Guinea Islands region, Loringau and Kavieng partly cloudy with few showers. Kokopo and Rabaul cloudy periods with few showers. Kimbe cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorm. Buka cloudy periods with some showers. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorm. Goroka and Kundiawa cloudy periods with some showers and possible thunderstorm. Mendi and Wabeg cloudy periods with rain showers and possible thunderstorm.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Wednesday, the 31st of May 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.